Hi,
Oh my god, there's so
can
many
you hear
people.
me?
I can hear you. How are you?
I'm good.
I had to
Is the
come back
network
because
better?
my network is so bad. Yeah, it's so much better now. And I was like, actually, you know what? Let me just come back to and figure out things and then get la one go page.
Yeah. No, I think it's better. It's steadier
Is
now.
the light better as well? I really tried with the lights and everything.
I can see you.
Okay,
So what's
perfect.
up, girl? You have consultations on Sunday nights.
Yes, people are trying to get married. That's the problem. And they're trying to get married out of community of property. My
Why are you
favorite thing in the
jiving?
whole world. Because that's how it's supposed to be. Outside of community property.
Okay.
Why are you trying to get married in community property? Do you want a man to take all your money?
What if you're the one that doesn't have money?
then
Then what?
then they work around that. We should
Oh, but
definitely we
we
you
still
must
need the
come.
prenup.
Yes, but you must come sit down. We can work around it. We can decide how we're gonna do this, and figure out, okay, how are we gonna navigate towards doing the things.
Right? Because that's my problem. What if I don't have the money? I know everyone wants to protect the money, and I think that's the problem.
Yes,
It's
and you
about the
should
one that
always.
doesn't have the money who feels less like ukarwa ropiwa.
About a period, but at the end of the day, remember, you may not have money, but you may have debt as well, or someone else may have debt. And yes, you may not have liquid cash, but there is definitely debt somewhere. Hona le account e nngwe moo ya Woolworths. Hona account ya Truworths. Hona le account ya Markhams.
Okay,
Always.
okay, okay. Okay, I'll click our order. Let's start properly. Hi,
Okay.
welcome. This is our first live, Pela. Yeah, anxiety. Come on, I didn't even know how to go live on YouTube. I tried yesterday,
Okay.
and then
I've
they say
never
you must be
done this
verified.
before.
It takes 24
I've
hours. I'm like, what? But
I've
thank
never
God I
done this
did it
before.
yesterday. So here we are. Ish. So I see these people. Hi guys. Thanks guys. I did the hairstyle just for you.
Little
You
Nate
see,
bottom Luna. I was
I
like,
still have
Nate,
my
okay,
cheese scope,
girl.
but
Ooh, you look nice. When did you cut your hair?
no, I always have my hair cut. I just always keep this part. So I decided to plait.
No, when I left Cape Town, you didn't have that haircut.
Yeah, no. Changes. So
But you look good. You look good.
thanks, girl. So okay, let's start with little people are anxiously waiting. So we
Of
said we're
course.
gonna talk about first cohabitation, and then we'll talk about the marriage regime. So Musrajola, and then we sit. I get we visit first for a weekend, overnight back. Then the next thing you get one shelf in the wardrobe, and then you get a second shelf, and then you are visiting like 4 times a week, and then the next thing you've been visiting for a year. When does it change? What happens then?
It doesn't
What's the danger?
change. And I'm saying,
It
okay, the
doesn't.
danger comes when you start acquiring assets together. That's what the
Okay.
danger is. The danger is when
Okay.
you start buying that microwave and that washing machine, ne? And
Together.
you start together.
What's
Yes, you
together?
start
You are
buying.
shopping together. One person is swiping, or you are mixing the
No, it
money.
doesn't
What's
matter
together?
who is. It doesn't matter
Is
who's.
paying.
If it's a mixing money thing, or if it's a um, it's the fact that you're buying it together, right?
Okay.
Sorry, there's a kind of noise. The what do you call, the inverter just popped in. It was load shedding, guys. What do you want?
Oh,
So like,
okay.
let me tell you about. Let's talk about that. You buy an inverter together. You're living in an apartment, and you are both renting the apartment. Who owns the inverter, for instance? And that's where the issue comes, because when we break up as partners, who's taking the inverter with them,
I
right?
get it.
Who does it belong to?
It's in the house. It's not attached to the house. So if my house was mine, or maybe
Mm.
we were renting.
You're
Or
renting the property. It's fine. The property doesn't belong to anyone. but the assets that are in the property, who owns the assets, right? Who owns the microwave? Who owns the washing machine? Who owns the dishwasher? Who owns this, right? And it goes back to things like we call it a cohabitation agreement. So we then specify and say that, okay, no, I own this, you own that. When we leave, this is what I go with, this is what you go with, right? And that is the actually the gist of a cohabitation agreement. Because if you don't have that, how do I know that when you exit the agreement or when you exit the relationship, it's a maling? Yeah.
Yeah, Mara, when do you do
So
the cohabitation agreement? After you've accumulated all of this? Because I mean, you can have
no,
it
as
till
soon as you
now,
start,
then you start
as
to
soon as you start,
accumulate again from the beginning.
as soon as you start, and that's where, as legal professionals, be or legal practitioners, you say no. As soon as you start, you do the agreement, right? And from then you can then decide and say, no, whatever I came with, I'm going to leave with it. Whatever I leave with, I'm going to leave with it, right? Whatever I come with, it's yours. Whatever I came with, it's mine. Ne? More. That's it, full stop, right? And then we have like an additional protective layer, which is called the will, last will and testament. Because remember, when you're in a father situation, you're not spouses. And the Interstate Succession Act, or, you know, only assists or helps when you guys are married. And if you're not married, you're not a spouse. Motu yes, we can assist you here and then to claim from pension fund. There's a section we can use to say that no motor alpha maintenance every single month, so you can claim maintenance from their pension fund. And there's different ways we can like approach it. But at the end of the day, you're not a spouse. Motu fair. At the end of the day, the court system will always say, yes, you guys were together for X amount of time, but why did you not get married? Right?
And
And if you didn't
how
get
long is that
married,
time? How long is that time where that question comes? If
no,
it's a year,
whether
is it too
it's a
long?
year, 2 years, that's 6 months, I never it has no issue. There's no issue of
Doesn't
time.
matter.
It doesn't matter. It's about the problem of, yes, you had the chance to get married so that this person can get the necessary protection that she or he will get as a spouse, but you didn't do it. What does that mean? You cannot be protected as a spouse when this person dies, for instance. Do you understand? So now it's a situation, okay, cool. We're sitting, this person has died, and now the family bayako beleha, and you want to have now a place. You want to sit under the tent. You don't want to sit in the sun like everyone else, right? You want to sit out, you want to sit in the tent with the family because you've been with this person for like a couple of years, and do you have the right to sit in the tent? No, you don't. It's more of a thing of, no, it's fine. Since we know you, you can sit in the tent with us, right?
And
But not a
sometimes they don't
spouse.
even know you. Sometimes they don't even know you, Gan.
Exactly. It could even be three or four of you, you know. Three or four of you come at some point and say that, no, we were all with this person. And that's okay. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because men, baby, three or four, you really 60 will sit cut and there, they'll take you in. But at the end of the day, you're not the legally obligated spouse to say that no, I have a place in this relationship. I've had a place. I know where I am. He put me here, and no, you have none of that.
Okay, but what gives you that leverage? Is it the will or is it the cohabitation agreement?
So the first thing I would, you know, how we look at it is the last. That's what they call a last will and testament, right? It's last will and testament is the last thing that I wanted people to know about. So your will basically overshadows everything. So whether you're married in community property or you're married out of community property, right? Your will is the biggest. Can I say? It's a determining factor because when you're married in community property, right? Your will determine what happens to the 50% of your joint estate. Because remember when you're married in community property, it's 50-50,
Yeah.
but it's 100%, but 50-50, right?
Yeah.
So here we are, we have a joint estate, we have a bag of potatoes. This is how I love describing it. It's a bag of potatoes. And everything that you guys do just adds to this bag of potatoes. So it's 100% of the bag of potatoes. But when you die, right, whatever the worth of the bag or the yeah, let me say the worth. However, it was worth this bag of potatoes. It will be split into two. So when you die and you're married in terms of property with a will, my will or your will only determine 50%, right, of that bag of potatoes. So if
Okay.
I say in my will, I want
Yeah.
my side chick to inherit this, I want
Mm.
my child to inherit this, I want my mother to inherit this, it's fine, it's okay, it's all right. But you can only then determine the 50% portion of the joint estate
Okay. So wait. So the cohabitation agreement we can do that. It helps us if we break up.
without a will.
Um. No, the will comes in when you die, right?
Yes.
So the cohabitation agreement helps us when we break up. We were never married, or because what happens now? If you have a cohabitation
Yeah.
agreement and then you get married, then that changes to whatever contract you sign to. Is that right?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So
So the
before you
cohabitation
get
agreement
married,
will just cohabitation will just kick in. Say for instance, we are cohabiting, we're living together, and then you say, this is how we're going to determine how our cohabitation part of it will agree. And in that cohabitation, you'll say you put in a clause to say that if we break up, this is what happens to the property, or this is what happens to what we've done. This is how we're going to treat the relationship, right? Then the competition kicks in. But if I have a will and I die while we were together,
with that
né?
cohabitation
With
agreement
that cohabitation agreement, your will kicks in.
takes over. Okay. So someone's asking now, this agreement, must it be filed with the legal people and must it be dealt with the same way you would have your will? Your cohabitation agreement, where do you do that? Who keeps it? How does it work?
Yeah. So you can get it notarized, you can get it, but it's not really because remember at the same time, a cohabitation agreement. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, right? And just say cohabitation agreement is great. It's good for assets that you guys are accumulating while you're in the cohabitation relationship. But and you can keep it with the person, but well, with an attorney or a legal practitioner. Um, but when you die and you have a will, your will always overtakes or kind of
Yeah. Yeah. But this is before you die. Should we break
yeah.
up? Because remember now, here's the problem.
Yes, get it
The reason
notarized,
why these
get it.
cohabitations take too long, maybe, say for example, some people bajola for 3 years. Then you're like, oh, I'm engaged for another 3 years. You're planning for your wedding and whatnot. Then you never get married. And then also now people are scared to actually get married, or they just don't want to go sign. They get married, but they don't sign. So at some point, they are going to get to a point where they haven't registered them. They are marriages or even customary
So what
marriage
do you mean
because
they
you will
get
have your
married but
customary
they're not
marriage.
signed? Whoa,
Yeah.
hold on. You say they're married but they're not signed.
N-
Take me back there. Why would you? What?
Customary
Okay, give
marriages.
me.
So you would say, I suit or whatever, but we didn't register it legally.
But how yet
So
yet?
yes, yes. But when you
Yes.
are
So even
engaged, you're
when
not married.
no, but if you're married, ne? You
Mm.
are customarily married, guys. If someone has taken out mahadi, bantsitse lobola, bantsitse the like the pere, like whatever they take out, right? And there was a celebration of some sort, or not even if there wasn't a celebration, it was customary rituals at each one,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So they took out. You guys went Lanta Mahadi, but
Mm.
you didn't celebrate the marriage. You didn't celebrate the ala jive, ala para two ala para two PC or whatever,
No,
right?
actually, you didn't register it. Maybe you didn't go to Home Affairs and
No,
say,
but that means
Rasaina.
nothing. Yeah, but
Yeah. Yeah.
registering. Remember, most. and we look back in our just as black people, registering a marriage is not a requirement for a marriage to be valid,
It's valid
right?
anyway in
It's
community of
valid
property.
anyway, and you're married in community of property as soon as Batitema height.
Okay. So let's answer this
So
one. Must you get your cohabitation agreement signed, witnessed, placed somewhere with somebody? And who's that
yes,
person? Can
that'll
you
be
get it on the
great.
internet? Can you download, fill in your details, give it to your bestie?
But just make sure it speaks to your what you want or what you both want in terms of the relationship you're in. As long as it can speak to that, and you guys are both comfortable with the paragraphs, the clauses that are being mentioned. Yeah, sure. Go on the internet. If you would like a little bit more additional protection, then this is where you'll get an attorney and say, hey, can you help us with the cohabitation agreement? Because it goes back to things like the life partnerships, right? And I say this specifically because a life partnership is a recognized, it's a recognized relationship, right? Um, if I if you look at, for instance, currently now the life partnership visas, people say no, can I visa a life partnership because I've been in a life. You go, you register a life partnership, you get it notarized. You use that to open to get a visa. Yes, it's possible.
Lost
It's
your
fine.
screen. Can you still see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Oh, I've lost your screen.
Ah,
Yeah, we can see you now.
perfect. Thank you. Awesome. All right. So where were we?
So you were saying life partnerships.
Yeah. Look, it goes way, like it goes deep, 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 guys. We can take this, but as long as you as an individual can prove intent, because end of the day we will always look at, or the judge, in the sense that they will always look at the intent. What is the intent of both parties, right? If, for instance, I had entered into a life partnership with someone, and we've entered into what they call a life partnership agreement, and that person died, and I can prove that this person had intended for me to inherit everything they had. If I can prove that and take it to court, and the court, because at the end of the day, the courts have discretion. Discretion is the ability to decide on the facts that is provided, that, okay, Ramutra, we
So
get
then
it.
we don't need the traditional marriage agreements. There's
We
many
do,
more
because
options.
it protects you from having to go the route of deciding or giving discretion to someone else. Rather put it down on paper, or you put it down and say, we're married. As a result,
Yeah.
like now, for instance, if you as a married person can say, I in this person died and they're inheriting this from me, and this is what I
Mm,
wanted. Rather put it down on paper than having someone else, which in case it would be a judge, to have discretion or to
okay.
decide.
Okay, so I have a question. They say, what's life partnership? How is that defined?
Excuse me?
What is life partnership? What did you do now? You're gone again on your screen. What did you press? Stop pressing.
No, I'm a bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back. Okay. Yeah, let's continue. Sorry.
Okay. So the question was, what is life partnership? How is that defined? Um, so when you say life partnership and you have life partnership agreements, what are you saying? Are you saying the intention is to live together, not get married? What is that? What is it?
I mean, it depends, Galina. No one can tell you what a life partnership. If you guys are going to
But
decide that
give
you
us
don't
an
want to be
example.
married
Like, why would people choose that? What are they
because
doing?
they don't want to get married, or they don't involve the government in the relationship,
Okay. But then what's
but they
more
decide
important
that.
is to have the agreement and the will, because that's where the family comes in and saying, as far as we are concerned, we didn't lobola you, we don't know who you are,
We
we
don't
don't
know
know
who
where you
you
come
are.
from. So
Exactly.
you are no one. So those agreements then help you
To live
legally.
in. Mm,
Because problem
basically.
ke family.
Perfect. and they hit at the end, like like afterwards when you're like, ooh, guys, family. Ooh. Even there's even situations where you even find women who are married. They're married, like they've lived
Yeah,
together,
but they
Bashita
still
Mahari,
intervene.
everything. And then afterwards, you just come and you just hear that this woman is crying because she's like they're just saying out of nowhere, "Hurahanta Mahad." He knows they don't know me, right? And here you are, you're going to have to fight for this woman because I know that's when then we come in and we prove, the facts to say, okay, these pictures. Here's a lobola later. Here's this. Here's that to
But
say
that
that they've
takes
been married.
time.
And that takes time and effort and money, right? I
Yeah.
can tell you one thing, and it's expensive. Court is not a joke.
So it's
Going
just
to
as
court
we
is
could avoid all of this if you could just write your will and have your
right to
agreements,
will,
then everyone is sorted.
or just go to Home Affairs and register your marriage.
Okay, let's talk about those then now. Marriages. What's going on?
Whew.
Okay, tell us about all of them. We know now
So
there's
there
other
is,
agreements. We don't have to sign. Hey,
yeah.
because
So
people
there's,
here don't want to sign now. For what?
and I mean, look, there's three. I'm gonna go talk directly or more influential towards marital regimes, right? Marital regimes are basically, can I say, contracts you sign as, or not even contracts, because when you marry in community of property, you don't have to sign anything. You just don't sign an antenuptial contract to say how you want to be married, right? So there's three marital regimes. There's in community of property, there's out of community of property with accrual, right? Then there's out of community property without the accrual. Ne?
Mm-hmm.
And I will specify and I'll go deep in towards with and without accrual. But when you have in community property, it means what's yours is mine, what's mine is yours. This is what I was talking about earlier on about the bag of potatoes. So whatever you came into marriage with, both parties is what you will leave. You own that that asset together. So if I came into marriage with a car, a house, he came into marriage with nothing. When he leaves the marriage, he co-owns that house and that car because we are in community property. If he came in with debt, I co-own that debt. If he came
So
in
we
with a
also share
child,
50-50 on the skolotos, okay?
basically, yeah, not even 50-50. You actually, if he can't afford to pay his debt, you are liable for that full debt. So if he
Okay.
comes in with skolotosa, let's think. If he comes in with skolotosa, let me take it back. If he has a child that he came in the marriage with, upatala maintenance for this child, ne?
Yes.
Lingwet in community of property, and he loses his job. Baby mama comes in and says, "Hey, you need to pay maintenance." But Yana, he doesn't have a job. So who do they attack? They attack the joint estate. Who is the person that is earning in the joint estate? You, as the woman. So they're going to attack you and make you pay full maintenance for this child because of the
Well, I
fact
guess
that
you would have been paying anyway before he lost the job.
unless you didn't know that he had another
Somehow it's
child.
just that now the cost is less, the money, because if you're both bringing in some income, I guess if you
But
married, there would have been an agreement to say I have to pay maintenance for my child, so the
yeah.
money would have been the pain there. It's just that
Oh, what
now
if you
it's
didn't
your
even
child, you are
know?
not
What if you didn't
working,
even
I must
know?
pay.
What if you didn't know that there was a child and he was
Oh
paying
yeah, the money was
maintenance?
coming out back door. Okay, no, that's another conversation. Okay, all right, all right. That's in
You'll
community of
be
property, and I think a lot
liable.
of people know that one. They know. Okay, but is it always 50-50, Kulu, when you go to court? Are there no other ways? Maybe say, for example, because people cause or they just cause the divorce intensive. I think there were some scandals around there where people marry women and then from there they in a few years time.
Wait. Yeah. Guys, just don't get married in community property. That's all I'm saying. Because it's if you are married in community property and your man gets into a scam, he scams someone else, post that thing or something, ne? And that person comes for him, right? He is coming for the
They're
joint
coming
estate.
for you.
They're coming for you end of the day. Just don't do it.
And
If there's
also
one
in
thing.
businesses, I think that's another one in business because then we always have hustlers who are trying to get into business. And if they don't pay their taxes, if they don't
Exactly.
manage their business properly, it's your if it gets if it gets to a point where it gets liquidated, all your assets will be auctions, everything, and you've got nowhere to go. So everything gets
And that's
attached.
why
So
as soon as when I even consult with the client and say, is anyone in business here? That's the first thing I ask. They say yes, no, I'm not in business. Oh no, I'm employed, no, I'm employer. Then you highlighted that if you are employed or an employer, let me say if you own a business and maloba untite loan ya company because you wanted to buy material. And as a company, you're unable to pay it back. The company can come for you and your home, right? So you always like say, okay, no, guys, why would you want your employer to come for you and your home when they could just come for your company or for you alone? So rather protect yourself by being married out of community property. Let them attack one party so that the other one can at least do you see? Just to hold
I
up
see. Yeah,
the structure of the home to
the
make sure
structure
the
of the
water's
home and let
paid.
the
Yeah,
hustler be alone.
exactly. Let the hustler on his own hustle. If you have to pay him, you can assist Pamo, pay him money or, no babe twara, pay, your creditor off or whatever. But try and structure it in such a way that not both of you are affected by the fact that you took out a loan to pay for material.
So how do you then change it? So you were now married in community of property, and then all of a sudden we all grow and we change and we want different things. And 15 years later, I decide now I'm going into businesses and I'm going to do that. And I'm aware that that decision will affect the marriage. How do you change that? Is it easy? Is it even easy to move from one contract to
it's
another?
it's not easy because it's an application we call a section 21 application of the Marital Regime Act, right? So you basically have to do an application to the High Court to say, High Court, listen, I'm married in community property, but me and my husband or my wife want to change our marital regime, right? Here are our creditors, because end of the day, remember the people you're prejudicing are your creditors, ne? Because it's nicer to have the both of you together than it is to have you apart, ne? So rather,
Yeah.
so in that application you have to tell your creditors, hey, me and babes want to change from in to out, right?
Yeah.
Tell them.
Yeah.
Then they need to come and either they defend and say, no, we don't like this, right? So you can't
Oh,
do it, and they'll have to
really?
give. Yeah, they must give their reasons. They must respond and be like, no, 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 we don't like this. And then once they respond, then you can then take it and say, all right. Then the magistrate, or the well, not this in this case, it's going to always be a judge because it's a high court application. Will say, no, 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 it's fine. You can't change your marital regime. If the judge or in that matter says it's fine, go change it, then you enter into what they call a post-nuptial agreement, right? Your post-nuptial agreement will always then determine what now your marital regime or what you've decided, if it's out of community property with or without accrual, is. So you get that notarized, you submit that, and then that is your new marital regime. From that point onwards, you then have two different estates. So you're not no longer in one, but you're two, right? And that's the way it's section 21 application. Very expensive because at the end of the day, remember, you have to serve all your creditors. So if you've got a bond, you've got a car, you've got a
Mm,
house, well, you've got
mm.
Truworths, Edgar's,
And
Woolworths, you need to
especially
let them all know.
bonds. especially
Exactly.
bonds, because they would have given you the bond based on joint
The
income.
fact
So
exactly.
now when you're saying you no longer, you want to separate that, they kind of want to know, so who's going to pay now, and how much do
You
they
see.
make? Do they even
Uh,
qualify to hold that bond? And if they don't, that's where then they would say no.
exactly.
And how
So
long does it take?
about 3 to 6 months at most. I think 8 months. As long as we've waited was 8 months for that to happen. Because at the end of the day, yes, you can tell your creditors, but at the same time, you must let them give them opportunity to respond. If they respond, then you also have to. It's a court process. It's a process of court that you follow. It's not just a once off. You let them know. No, no. Sometimes people can be like, no, no, no. We're better off as a creditor. I'm better off to receive the money because you guys are in a joint estate.
So
Because at the end of
now,
the day,
what's the cheapest to do? Divorce and remarry.
but that's fraud.
I thought it's cheaper.
Oh no, you can't just when you divorce, you need to divorce because you're divorcing. You don't divorce to remarry because of look.
We want- Well, the divorce is expensive anyway. I don't even know why it's an option.
Exactly. No, 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 no. Divorce is very expensive.
Listen, I was just trying. Trying to find
Yeah,
ways to
just
get around this, because I can imagine that there's people who are stuck in this thing. I remember I was stuck in it in my marriage, because at some point I was like, dude, this was the wrong idea. And we tried to get around it, but I was like, how long does it take? How expensive is it? And then also you're worried that if you do you really, like, you wonder, do I really want to still go on with this marriage?
mm. And
What are
it's
you
like
gonna
it's
do?
a two-way thing. Like, okay, oh, now we have to pay all those. Look, getting married is easy, nah. But getting divorced, oh, it's expensive. So weird because at Home Affairs, you think you charge like 75. They charge 75 rand to get married, to register marriage,
Oh,
but to
is
get
it?
yeah, it's like 75 rand.
Was it not 35?
And now it's 75.
It went up. Interest, price
It's
hikes.
inflation.
Boy, now Barry is a life partnership the legal arrangement for same-sex marriages?
I wouldn't say that no, because same sex, or look, you can be in the same sex or a no, no, it's not specifically same sex. No, no, it can be both ways. Because a life partnership is two people deciding that we want to be together, but we don't want to bring the government in it. So they can just sign a life partnership agreement, which is what we call a
So it can
cohabitation.
be for any type of setup.
Exactly, yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's go to out of community of property.
So out of community property, there's two types. There's with accrual, without accrual. With accrual basically
Which one do we
says
start with? With
that
accrual.
yes, with accrual. Accrual, let's start there. So we know without accrual is basically what's yours is yours, what's mine is mine. After we die or we get divorced, because I always try and emphasize this. Um, Marriage or your marital regime will always affect how you die or how you get divorced. Not just divorce, right? Because yes, you can get divorced. You have, you know, you can be in community property with the divorce, but if you die, it kicks in as well, right?
Mm, mm,
So I call it the DD. When you die, when you get divorced, because that's when it kicks in.
yeah.
So when you're married in community, out of community property with the accrual, we basically say, and you need to be very like awake for this one. Whatever you came in with, both parties, right?
Mm,
You start on that commencement value as zero, right? Or however your antenuptial had said. Sometimes people start on a value to say that, no, I've come in with this. But if it's zero, high five. And then whatever you accumulate within the marriage, right? We take that post value,
the marriage.
right? Post value. So whatever you've accumulated in the marriage, right? We take the difference of that, right? The person with the most Are you hearing
Most
me?
what? Yeah.
Value. So, okay, let me give an example.
Okay.
So, I came
Okay.
in with 0. I left. I'm leaving the marriage via death or divorce with R1 million, right? As in my value as a person. How I'm worth R1 million, right?
Yes, girl.
My husband comes in with 0. His value is with 2 million rand. Ne?
Okay.
And when
Okay.
I say value, I'm saying terms of assets minus liabilities, right? So his value in life, like how mona he's worth two
Yeah.
million. When I'm mona,
Yeah.
I'm worth a
Yeah.
million, right? What we say
Yeah.
then is that we say the one with the highest, and the one with the lowest, we take the difference. So in this case, it will be R1 million because 2 million minus 1 million is one
Mm,
million, right?
mm.
Half of that, which is 500,000.
500,000. Yeah.
Yes, that amount will then the person with the most will have to give
Lost
over.
your video now.
Ah,
I was just going through the questions in
oh,
the
that's
meantime.
sad. It said someone said they don't marry people. Pastors don't marry if you married out of community property. Wow, that's interesting.
Pastors don't marry couples if they don't choose to. Oh, really?
They have an in. Oh wow,
Okay.
that's
And also,
interesting.
do you have to end an unregistered marriage by going to Home Affairs? So this is will be in community of property, but unregistered,
Okay,
or
wait,
do
let
you
me finish
simply
with
do
my
it?
cruel. Let me finish with my cruel conversation because that's very
Yeah.
important.
Okay. Yeah.
So then the person with the most has to
Yes.
give half of the difference of the two to the one with the least. So it goes back to,
Okay.
back in the day when women are housewives and they are earning nothing because they're looking after home, but at the same time they're supporting their man. The man's going to work, feeding the kids, and. So that, accrual aspect comes in because you're not making anything like physical,
Mm,
like, but you're
mm.
assisting him in his business and his whatever by running the
You're
household,
enabling
right?
him. You're enabling him.
Exactly. So
Yeah, because he goes to work. You are, yeah, you're whole, yeah.
exactly. So that's where, the accrual aspect comes in to say that no, no, no,
Mm,
no. You need to be able to get a portion of his commencement value. So you as a woman are able to claim half of the difference between the two.
okay.
Mm.
This is when now. This is
With accrual.
with accrual. You married out
Yes.
of community of
Community
property with
property with
accrual.
accrual. Yeah.
Okay, but you are not, the other party is not able to bring in, and sometimes it's men because men also stay at home these days.
Mm.
So then they don't make as much. So that's when this whole
Exactly.
calculation happens.
Or what could also like influence that is, remember, the post commencement value is determined by assets and liabilities. So sometimes he's got assets, but his liabilities are so much that it brings down his value, his post commencement value, or his post value, or his post net worth, right? To say yes, but his bonds and he's been
Mm.
squandering and he's doing it's so small that you as a woman have more assets than him, right? So end of the day, you could actually be paying over an accrual amount to him.
So if you're a housewife or a house husband, your expenditure matters. So you don't just take the money and buy and
That's why in
use.
my international contracts with accrual, I always put it as a clause that says that the amount, because and this is something that with women, the women are my faves, guys. Oh, we're such planners, right? When we're leaving relationships or we're leaving marriages, we're very big on planning. We always sit and we plan. Yeah. And as a woman, if you know you're married in accrual, you'll know, how do I bring down my accrual amount? Is by
Mm.
giving away assets. So I give to my sister, I get a toilet room. No, sis, please hold this. Hey, no, no, please do this, please do this, please do. You ask them to hold that
Uchincha the
asset.
ownership, give your mom the car.
Because end of the
Isn't that
day, that
fraud?
car doesn't belong to you anymore. It doesn't belong to you
Isn't
anymore,
that
right?
fraud?
But now in my international, I always say, any assets that you disposed of 2 or whatever years before you initiate the divorce, ne, we will
Ah,
disregard
you
them,
are the crook.
and the value will be determined from that specific time to be brought into the calculation of the accrual.
I hear you. So that you don't do a quick job. Oh,
Exactly.
Mara, if you say 2 years, I'll start selling them 3 years before.
Oh, exactly.
I
You
know
see.
what's in the contract.
Mm, mm,
Hmm. So
mm.
I'll do it earlier. Okay.
So that's how
So
we
then
were
without
able
with
to work
yeah.
backwards. Mm.
And men
So
are
that's
slow.
with
They remember these
accrual.
things too late. Hey.
And the thing is, in the time that we're in, we actually started to realize that now. It's like we are, as the society we're in, we're only waking up now, unfortunately.
Mm.
So we're getting a lot of Section 21 applications of the change of the marital regimes.
Change of marital
Um,
regimes, yeah.
we're getting a lot of women who, or even men, coming to say they want to register trusts because, excuse me, remember when you're married in community of property, there's certain consequences or certain things that you can't do or you can do. For instance, if you're married in community property, I cannot buy a property or an asset without the permission of my partner, right? I
Yeah.
cannot dispose of that asset. I can't sell property. I can't go and get credit. I can't go to the bank. The bank will always ask you, are you married in or out of community property? They'll say in. You say, okay, cool. Ask your partner to sign, your husband or your wife to sign this, right? They'll always ask you when you're selling assets, are you selling the car? Okay, cool. Are you married in or out? Because remember, it influences the bag of potatoes. So when you're removing from the bag, it means you're selling. When you're buying into the bag, you are increasing credit or you are always affecting. So whatever affects the joint estate, the bag of potatoes, needs always permission from the other party, right? But the only thing that doesn't need permission from the other person is
Is a
registering a
trust.
trust. Yes. And
So
that's
what do
how
you do with a
men
trust? Are you gonna put money in a trust
that's how
without your
men
partner's permission?
that's how men are very, very like men. If there's one thing about guys, if you will see a man, and if I say NB, 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 NB as an attorney, you will see the wrath or the realness of a man during divorce or when you were applying or when you see him at maintenance court. Nah. You will know your man what he looks like at those two. Maintenance court and when you're going through divorce
Divorce.
processes,
Yeah.
right? So a trust, for instance, a trust is a vehicle. Ooh, it's a very very interesting vehicle. Um, it's a tool actually. It's not supposed to be used to be hiding assets, but it's also a very like it's a very can I say it can go either way,
So can you
right?
open the trust and put stuff in the trust as a if you're gonna get as a prenup or something?
What do you mean?
Like before you get married. So where you want to protect probably okay, but anyway, it won't then serve the purpose because if you're going out of communal property, everything that was yours is still yours. Okay, enough.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay,
So in
let's
South
go
Africa, I
to out
remember
of
also we
communal
don't have.
property with accrual.
Yes. So with accrual, we've explained with accrual, right? So the
Okay, yeah.
difference goes half. So
Yes, yes, yes.
without
Okay.
accrual would be what's yours is yours, what's mine is mine. So when I leave, what mine is mine, what's yours is yours. Exactly that. And how it'll work. I think I saw someone ask me a question about if you okay if you're getting married. I think someone asked now is what how do you buy assets jointly if you're married out of community of property, right? Remember, when you're married out of community of property, you are you and you are you, right? So what you can do is you can just jointly co-own assets together. You can enter into contracts together. You can buy a car together, but you own you or your half, he owns his half, right? You're
So
just
when we
treating your
divorce, we
assets
sell and take half.
exactly, yeah. You're co-owners. It's like you and your friend owning property together. You're not married
Yeah.
as friends, but
Mm,
you own half of it. So if you want to buy
mm.
your friend out, you need to buy half of the value out. Same thing with this. It's just two people coming together and buying assets together. That's it.
Okay, so you can just do it with your younger brother. Same thing with your partner.
It's
When
exactly
we,
like with your younger brother.
yeah,
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, all right. Okay, so which one are we on now? With or without accrual? With accrual.
That's
Without.
without accrual. Yes. So what's yours is yours, is mine is mine. Full stop.
Okay. So what's our last one? Is it with or without?
In
Which one? We
out without. So we had
without.
in
Okay.
community property, we had out of
Yes.
a community property with accrual, out of community
Yeah.
property without accrual. So there's three.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Prenups. What's to remember to add in there? Because it still seems like even if you have a prenup, we are not doing the best to add to what's supposed to be. It's kind of like maybe people still find that, oh, I just didn't think about this in the future when I put it in the beginning. And the problem is the clause is already there from the beginning. So what are
Phew.
those things that trip us up when we put up a prenup?
Okay, so number one, South Africa, we don't have prenups. We have antenuptial contracts,
Okay,
right?
okay,
Prenup, the term prenup is an American term that, yes, but in South Africa, we have antenuptial contracts, right? So,
okay,
what would you want to put in your antenuptial contract? You can put whatever you want to exclude, basically. So, an antenuptial contract is there to protect your current circumstance and your future circumstance. So if you want to exclude the house that you got from your mother, no, actually, because inheritances are already by default excluded. But if you want
okay,
to exclude a property that you bought when you were in varsity and you want to exclude it, you must add in the antenuptial contract. I am entering into an antenuptial contract, but I'm excluding the house and any proceeds I get from the house. You must add it. If you have a car and you want to exclude it, you add it. I'm excluding the car. And
so can
any
you have this
proceeds I made from
contract
the car.
even when you're going into community of property? Can you still have one?
No. So when you're married in
Okay,
community property, you don't have that contract. You only get the contract. You only do that antenuptial contract when you're married out of community property with or without the
or
accrual.
without?
You can then, yeah. So remember, I
Oh,
said
okay.
when you're marital regimes, you have three marital regimes. You're either married in
Yeah, yeah,
community property, or you're married
yeah.
out of community property with accrual, or out of community property with accrual. So when you have these two, you can then determine that your contracts can then say how you want to get married out of community property.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now I've heard a scenario. Wills.
Mm.
Now I want to go back to wills. We started talking about wills. Because most couples don't have wills, right? So, and there's incidents that would happen, such as maybe one of when you don't have a will, if one of the spouses passes on, um, is it by default that the other one gets the 50%? You get what I mean? So I have a partner, we don't have a will to say my
Are you
50%
married?
goes to this one. Yeah, we married
Are
in
you
community of
married?
property.
Okay.
And then partner dies. Is it by default that his 50% is mine? Or can the
I wish
family
we
come
have
and
that.
claim that 50% and say, um, there's no way where my son said the 50% is yours?
Okay, so there's something called the Interstate Succession Act. Nah? The Interstate Succession Act is an act. Um, okay, sorry, young motion. I'm gonna answer you now. But the Interstate Succession Act, load shedding is bad. It's off. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, so anyway,
Hmm.
Interstate Succession Act says that it's an act, and you need to Google this if you're interested.
Kolo, we lost you. Okay, let's try and get it back. I think these people installing the inverter are the ones messing up with the connection. Okay, can a partner retain an asset that has been purchased without consultation or agreement in an unregistered? Can they return it where? Can a partner return to an asset that has been return it to who? Maybe I'm not understanding. Maybe Kulu will get this one. The trust value accounted or affected for in a contract that's with accrual. Okay, I don't know. Let's see. Let's try and get her back. You back?
Yo, these questions are very interesting. I love them.
Okay.
Interesting. Ask a very
Wait, before you
interesting
answer the
question.
question, answer
Is the value
my question.
is the
Yeah.
trust value accounted factored for in a contract that's with accrual? Okay, that's interesting. Okay, no. But but what was I saying? What was I saying? Let's go back to what I was saying.
We
And
were
I'll answer all
talking
these questions.
about if you don't say in your will that we're using
Oh,
50%
yes.
for it.
So there's something called an Interstate Succession Act. Interstate Succession Act is an act that facilitates or governs what happens to your assets when you die, right?
Mm.
So in that, you look at what they call Section 2.1 of the act. Even if you Google it, you'll see it. In that act, it gives you the different rankings, right? Or the different, like, step one, step two, step three, step four, who's going to inherit if you die without a will, right? So the first person to inherit if you die without a will is your spouse, right?
Okay.
I say spouse because it's the person you're married to.
Yes. 75 rand, signile. That's the one.
Yes. Number two would be if you don't have a spouse but you have children. They call them descendants, right? Then all your descendants will equally inherit,
Okay.
right? Number three, if you've got a spouse plus descendants, what will happen? Your spouse will get a portion called a child's share, right? Which is a automatically calculated portion. And then the rest will go splitting to everybody, including your spouse, right?
Okay.
Number four is if you have no spouse, no children, what happens then? Then they look
Mm.
at your parents,
Okay. All right. So your
right?
parents can come to your spouse and say, we want our child's assets.
Exactly. Because
Okay.
they're not there yet. Their ranking comes one, two, three, four
Yeah.
afterwards. That's if there's no spouse or if there's no children, then your
Child.
parents can come in,
Okay.
right? Then after that, if there's no parents, then they go to your siblings.
Okay.
If there's
Okay.
no siblings, they go to your aunt and uncle.
Okay. All right. Okay.
If there's no
Okay.
aunt and uncle, they go to your cousins. If there's
Kazi.
no cousins, if there's no cousins, then it goes all the way what they call to the guardian fund. The guardian fund is a fund where money just sits and waits. And in that time, someone must come and claim it. If they don't claim it within 20 years, it goes back to the government. But you can have like a malumo mungware, no, I'm mang from mang mang, and they can prove that we're related somehow. They'll get your money, everything.
Okay. Okay,
So
let's answer
that
the questions now.
okay.
Okay, where do we start? Do we have to end unregistered marriage by going to Home Affairs, or lawyers are enough?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
But do we have to end an unregistered marriage? But I think this one, if it's unregistered, if you would have paid lobola, you're still married. So that's marriage.
Yeah,
If
that's it. You have to
you,
go to
if
court.
you,
You have to go. You
yeah,
have to
so
go
if it's
do a physical,
unregistered
a proper
marriage, that would be
divorce.
what? Well, where are you in your journey
No, but
stage here?
it's just because it's unregistered doesn't mean it's not valid. You're still married, so you have to
Yes.
go via the court route. You still have to go through the divorce route. Home Affairs
Yeah.
can't help you if your marriage is undivorced, in unregistered. Sorry, so you need to go the court
Okay.
route like a normal divorce.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And then being mindful of depression. I think there's a comment that can lead to death while assets are being disposed of strategically before filing for divorce. We need to choose the right contract. Okay. Can a partner retain an asset that has been purchased without consultation or agreement in an unregistered marriage? I think all marriages are
No.
registered, whether there's a paper or not. They are registered.
Uh-uh.
Also,
Not all marriages are registered. All marriages are valid
are
marriages.
valid. Okay. Yes.
Yes. So no, even if it's not registered, they are still married, and no, they cannot return an asset, or they cannot dispose of an asset. Let me put it
But
like
what
that.
does it mean, return an asset? What are you guys talking about? What are you
Return
guys
could
asking each other?
be. I mean, yeah, actually, maybe you can just clarify what return. What do you mean by return? What are you? What asset would they be returning? Are you returning a car? Are you
A car,
returning
yeah. But also now
a
here
jacket?
you've got it without consultation or an agreement from your partner, whereas you're in community of property. I think the problem starts there, doesn't it? How did they
Exactly.
even
It will start
acquire
there.
that?
It will start with the person, that person that the service provider, in this case VW, who were able to give you a car without consent of both parties. The problem is there.
Yeah. You see, I'm getting educated. And then is the trust value accounted for? Did you answer this one?
Is the trust value accounted factored in for in a contract that's with accrual? No, it's not.
Okay.
Unless, guys, look. If I was your attorney and your man has a trust, right? What I would do is I would start by digging into the trust to see, is the trust being run properly, right? Because by law, a trust can only be used as a vehicle if it's run properly. So, are there financial statements?
Oh no, we lost you again. Oh,
Yeah,
oh, I have you. I have you.
am I
Go
back?
on.
Okay, a trust has a lot of administratively taxing um requirements, and if you as a trustee are unable or have not met those requirements, what it means that is that your trust is not being run properly. So what I'll do is that I'll approach the court and say, this guy is using the trust as an alter ego of himself, right? Open it up, and whatever's in the trust must be accounted for in the accrual. That's how I would approach it. So yes, it can be, but no, if the trust is run properly, how it should be run, then you can't add it as part of the accrual amount.
Yeah, understood. Does half paid lobola mean married?
Is it?
Half paid lobola, half like.
Ish, I get this question a lot, hey? It does, unfortunately. It does. Uh,
So maybe that's first place you can dispute. Does half
no,
paid lobola
okay,
mean
so
married?
sorry.
Re
What is the
kokotile,
intention?
re kokotile, re a boa.
So ukokotile wapatela hafu. Uh, like I said, the discretion is
You know
on.
what they say in African, a man will never finish
Lobola
off
I face.
ilobol.
Can it lobola
Lobola
I
I
face?
fail.
I face.
So,
Now,
so
as
it's
an
marriage.
attorney, exactly. Now, as an attorney, if someone said Kipatete half lobola, I want a divorce, I'm going to be able to prove that there's been a marriage. You guys have lived together after
Yeah.
lobola, even if it was paid 10 years ago, okay, half. I'm going to say, no, no, Lingets, you married as a husband and wife, let's go get divorced. Because
Because
we
now I
can.
can't go anywhere. I can't go get married somewhere
Exactly.
because now I'm committed to you. Now I'm in a partnership with you. I can get
Exactly.
that. Okay. Oh, that question about returning, it's returning to the creditors. So we said the first problem is the creditor, right?
One buys a car that time the other party can the other party return the car to the dealership. Yeah, no, the problem would be why is the creditors giving the car out without the other party knowing? Um Young motion, yeah, I think you'd start there. But yes, I mean you can return it, but you as the other party can, dispute and come through with and say, why would you, but also why would you want to keep an asset that you knew nothing about? But yes, they can return it.
And
The same
then
way that they got
descendants
the same
inherit
way they got
equally.
it.
A 2-year-old will inherit the same as a 21-year-old.
Yes. Love this question. So the pension fund, if for instance you have a pension fund, the pension fund will always proportionate in terms of age. So sometimes a 2-year-old, in terms of pension funds, retirement annuities, will inherit more. So just because you're a beneficiary in a pension fund or an RA, right, doesn't mean they will inherit the same. Because they normally look at factors like the 2-year-old has barely
There's
made
still
it into
time
school. There's still time. So they'll need more
and
money than a
cost,
21-year-old.
schooling, all of that.
Exactly, right?
A
But
21-year-old is an adult. They can try
they'll
work.
be okay. You know what I mean? So when you look at things like a will, um, based on your will, if you're saying all my children must inherit equally, then yes, they'll inherit equally, right? But things like pension funds, the pension fund adjudicators, the people there at the pension funds will be able to what they do is that they restructure how you have spoken to your beneficiaries in order to assist the youngest and apportion it accordingly. So that's
Yeah,
possible as well. Yeah.
yeah, correct. I get that. Interesting. Thanks, Flex. And then if there's no spouse, no descendants, but there's a fat and set partner, I guess a fat and set partner who can prove that you were supporting them, they also get. I know this one. Especially if they were financially dependent
They
on
can
you.
claim maintenance from the estate. So even like maintenance, they can claim a maintenance amount. So it even goes like back to like if you as a man are married, or let me just use you, Lindy, as an example. You're married to a man and he has a side chick. He's been paying side chick 2,000 rand every month, right? When he dies, she's able to claim maintenance from the estate
Oh,
because
but
he's
mom,
been maintaining her. I know it's so horrible. Hey, she can come and pay maintenance to the state because he's been maintaining her,
I
so
know.
he must
I
continue.
understand, but it's not fair.
Mm.
For how
Mm.
long?
I mean, if she can prove it, depends. It depends also on her. Like saying, hey, say she has no job. I mean, the maintenance code will determine that. That's a maintenance matter.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
it's not we can't put a number of years to it. It's at the discretion as of the magistrate or the judge in that case.
Okay. Okay. I think we answered all the questions. Is there one we didn't answer? I think we did.
We
I think
did.
we did. Is there anything you forgot to tell us that's important that
Just
we
get
didn't
married out of
ask you?
just marry out of community property.
Must we have accrual or mustn't we? Or it doesn't matter as long as we're out of community of property.
With accrual, with accrual works if you are both starting off and but if you are, for instance, a divorcee, you've got your own assets, he's got his own assets, he's got his own kids, you have your own kids, then without accrual makes sense. I can't advise to say don't do it, but it will only make sense because, or if you have a business out of community or property, because you're all older, you're all, in the sense that you've acquired the assets, at a specific age. So just remove the monetary value of it and just be together. Yeah.
Okay. And then on cohabitation, what's the one thing you want to tell us? We must just get married 6 months in. Oh, there's no time to be knowing each other whilst you're busy buying things together.
If you're going to buy things together and cohabit, keep your slips. That's what I'm saying. Keep your receipts. Keep your, this is mine. If this couch that is here is yours, keep this receipt. Take a picture of it, email it to yourself, because when it comes to a thing, later when you guys break up or you terminate, and now it's an issue of, oh man, you can be able to prove it, but this is mine, right? I'm
Can
leaving
I
with
have a
it.
bank statement? Do I need to keep slips? Can I just not use a bank statement?
You can use a bank. No, no, just give me proof. If he comes for
Yeah.
you and says, "Oh, you took my couch," you'll be like, "No, but it's not yours." Can I get a killing born?
But if they say, but I've enabled you to be able to have that car.
No, but then you should have married me and had like a say in the enabling. Because just because we're living together and you're paying the rent and I'm buying assets,
And I'm buying the
which is
food. I'm paying
which
the
is
rent.
which is the enabling aspect of it. But you decided that that's what you wanted. You wanted it to be like that. If you wanted it to be different, you would have married. You guys would have gotten into a legally a relationship where you're able to claim from each other in terms of marriage, but you didn't.
But that's where the cohabitation agreement will come in, because marriage is expensive. Lobola, you must pay
Huh?
200,000 now.
Marriage is 75 rand.
No, but remember, in African culture, that doesn't count if you didn't do the right things. Oh, you are saying we must just go sign.
Just go to Home Affairs, and Home Affairs can protect you.
Once and for all. Because when
Just
are you
don't
gonna
get
have money to save for 200,000 and blankets and the whole thing?
and
Because that's where people get stuck. Then they can't move forward, they can't finish, they can't start, and then they don't get married, and they just keep on staying and living together and
but it's
continue and
actually an
enabling each
excuse
other.
though. Oh, it's actually an excuse. If you can buy a washing machine, are you telling me you can't go to Home Affairs to go and sign?
No, no, home affairs you can, but I mean, in
Yeah, but
our
the
African
cultural,
culture, we
I
kind
think
of
it goes
want to
back
pay
to,
lobola first.
yeah, I think it goes back to culture. It goes back to what you believe in as well. If a cultural marriage is what you believe in and you're going to wait it out till you can get lobola, yang bankeng unta loan he, unta mahadi.
At 200,000. Yeah. I guess that's the going rate now.
Actually, 180 apparently, 120, between 120 and
What's
180.
the difference? 20 grand is to buy all of these other things.
20,000 rand is a lot of money, Lily.
Yeah. All right, Kulu. Thank you so much for your time.
You're
Still love you,
welcome.
love you. Is your inverter working? It's gonna be
It
working
is.
tomorrow.
Can you hear it? It's kicking in. It's like, can't you hear it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, Lemon is doing a good job. Lemon is very quiet. Love it.
Thank you so
Yeah, no, no.
much.
Thank you for having me. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
and
nice
thanks for
program we
everyone that
had.
joined, guys. Thank you for your questions. Um, okay, what was this question? If you are fat and set for a while, now you're legally life partners. Yeah, or can be
Nope.
recognized as.
Mm-mm. That was actually there was a case actually that spoke of that. But no, 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 no. That's no. I remember there was even a time frame they were saying if you're sitting for 6 months, then you're legally life partners. No, 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 no. That
Oh,
was.
okay.
I'm gonna send you the case actually. What you can do is just like even just citate it in whatever is
Yeah,
going forward,
on
so
the
you can
chat. Yeah, I'll
yeah,
do
so
that.
people can see, yeah. But I'll send it to you and you can send it through.
All right. Thank you, baby girl. Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night,
I'm also
everybody.
here
Have
in
a
the
lovely
hotel.
week.
I'm asleep now.
Oof, sleep well.
Bye bye, babe. Bye,
Bye.
guys.